This Real Agriculture podcast is brought to you by Genesis Fertilizers. Nitrogen fertilizer is your farm's #1 expense. Farmers are working together through Genesis Fertilizers to solve the problem of high prices and security of supply by planning a state-of-the-art nitrogen plant. Security and earnings through ownership is the solution. Visit Genesis today at genesisfertilizers.com to learn more.
Hi, I'm Bernard Tobin. Welcome to Real Agriculture. Today I'm at the Ontario Agricultural Conference and I'm talking with Tyler Smith. Tyler is one of the survivors from the Humboldt Broncos crash, and he's also the winner of the Amazing Race Canada. Sir, thank you for stopping by.
Oh, thanks for being here. Yeah.
Awesome.
I appreciate being here.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, you've just finished your presentation, keynote speaker here at the conference. Big crowd and a pretty powerful conversation. And I want to go through some of that and talk about, your journey, your life journey, and your mental health journey, and some of the messages you're sharing with a lot of people that you're talking with these days. And so maybe the starting point is that day in 2018 of the crash. What do you remember?
Yeah, surprisingly, April 6, 2018 is a day that obviously defined my life, but it's a day that I have no recollection of, and I think it's hard because you want to remember. As much as hard as it is, you want to remember, and you want to remember all those lasts, but I can't find it. And I think it's my mind's probably protecting me from a lot of mental and emotional trauma that you don't maybe think about as much, but it takes a toll. So.
Yeah. Well, just talk about, I guess, we're going to talk a lot about the crash and a lot about the journey since then. But when you woke up that day, tell me what shape you're in.
Yeah, shape was rough. Obviously, at the time, I knew physically I was in a rough shape, suffering, a couple broken bones and a stroke and some nerve damage and a lot of those things that, can take a toll on your body. But I think for me, the biggest thing was the mental and emotional aspect. But I didn't realize that yet. Yeah. I had no idea the actual toll that was taken on my mental and emotional. I think the shape I was in was just solely focusing on the physical in hopes that the mental and emotional would just follow.
Yeah. No, I mean, today during the presentation, you talked about all that you went through, and the challenges and all the moments, from the funerals and all the people who are there at your bedside. I want to ask you about you talked about you're a people person, you're a family person, and you thought more about everybody else. It was difficult to deal with. It was easier, I guess, to help your family and help others.
Yeah, I think it was just like second nature to me, honestly, just like take care of my people. And I never understood mental health. I never understood grief. I never understood like how long. And now I realize that obviously this is something that I'll think about every day for the rest of my life. And I think at that time I just wanted to make sure that my people knew I was good. Yeah. And I did my very best at distracting everybody else and myself kind of from what was actually going on. But I mean, it took a long time.
Yeah, but you got there, and it was a difficult sort of journey at that point. But you tell people it's okay to ask for help, and you asked for help. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, I think it's very vulnerable to get to a mindset where you actually need to tell yourself that you need help. And for me, it was luckily my billet mama, and she was able to help me get on that journey of, all right, you're gonna promise me that you seek help. And I think that was it's a very vulnerable thing, and it's a time where you kind of have to succumb to the fact that you're in pain and you're struggling and there's a lot of work that needs to be done. So it took a long time, and I think probably almost took, almost a year, but for me, I knew that I needed to start embarking on that journey or else I was going to start losing the people that loved me, and I couldn't have that.
Yeah, and you talked about, that help. Sometimes it's listening. You're a therapist. You sought out therapy, and it was just an opportunity to talk, some good listening. You can get help in so many different ways.
Yeah, I think that's the hard part is I thought there was kind of like the perfect way to go about it, but now I realize that everybody's journey looks so much different and everyone's growth looks so much different. So, what works for me might not work for everybody. And I think I just needed to almost get to a place where I can just trial and error and figure out, okay, this is going to work, this might not work, I can keep doing this, I can keep, put some more effort into this. And I think that is a hard part because some things don't work and you get discouraged. And I think I want people to remember that don't get discouraged. And I mean, even if you don't find the right therapist right away, I mean, everything does happen for a reason in some ways, and I think just trust the process and keep the faith that, you know, you're going to find what works for you.
Yeah. Now, I want to come back to this conversation, but I want to shift over to the Amazing Race for a second.
Yeah.
You know, that coming on the heels of what you've gone through. How do those come together? You know, from one, I wouldn't use extremes, but just emotional ride to another.
Yeah, that's a good question. I haven't really actually thought about how everything is so intertwined, but I think it's true. I think, you know, things come into your life at the right reason and at the right time. And I think for Kat and I, it was an opportunity for us to, you know, work on our relationship and go have some fun and explore and venture and get outside our comfort zone. And I think that is something that we want to do in our relationship, is be spontaneous and go get outside our comfort zone. So I think for us, it wasn't like we were in a lull or anything, but it was just an opportunity to, let's just go do this, and let's be present, and let's go have fun, and let's go make some memories, but let's also do it for our people.
Right.
Like, let's do it for the 29 families that were involved, the 16 families especially, and let's do it for everyone, but also do it for us as well, and find that balance.
Yeah. I want to talk about some of the challenges there. My daughter Bridget, a big fan. We watched it, and you know, I guess the 90-foot pole in Toronto was a big one, and you faced a lot of challenges. She and a lot of other people wanted to know, you know, where do you find that motivation? You know, given what you've been through, where do you find that motivation to sort of to dig deep and sort of persevere in those situations?
Yeah, honestly, at that moment, I was ready to call it quits. I was spent, I was tired, but you know, watching it back, there was a moment where Kat said, "Remember who you're doing this for," and I think that was like that perfect moment where she knew that I needed to hear something that brings me back to what we're really doing this for, and I think that allowed me to find whatever gas I had left in the tank to get up there. And you know, as much as it's at that point it was physical, but it was starting to creep into the mental and emotional side of just like, I can't do this, and I think I just needed to, you know, bridge that gap and remember that, all right, I'm doing this for 16 amazing people that we lost, but also I'm doing this for Kat down low, and you know, her watching over and screaming at me to remember who we're doing this for. So it was a challenge.
Yeah. Hey, well, I want to wrap up with a little thought on authenticity. It's something you talked a lot about. Is about being yourself and sharing yourself. And you closed it off the presentation today with this. You know, people are struggling. Your story can be the spotlight at the end of other people's tunnel. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I think we can all relate to knowing that somebody in our life is struggling, but also never knowing how to fully go about that. And I think, you know, being able to empathize with your people by sharing a little bit about your own story and realizing that, you know, by you doing that, that can hopefully open up a space for them to be like, I can go through this, you know, and I can put my story at the forefront of my mind, and I can take care of myself too. So it took a while, but I now realize that your story matters. And, you know, whatever you're going through, is small or major or minor as you may think it is, it still deserves time and space.
Yeah. A lot of people struggle, mental health issues. And then there's the day to day, the next day. Where are you now, and from that perspective?
Yeah, just honestly, I'm very much of a take a day by day kind of guy, and I think for me, being able to, you know, share my story is something that I'm super grateful I'm able to do, and, you know, connect with different people across Canada around these hard topics is never something I anticipated doing. But, you know, whether it's through my podcast or my clothing line or my speaking, you just never really know. You never know when somebody needs to hear something or see something. So it's you know, it's what I like to do.
Awesome. Well, hey, thank you for making some time for Real Agriculture, sharing your story, your journey, and we wish you well.
Awesome. Much love. Thank you.